Yo, what is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Boss Fight. I haven't done one of these in over a year, so that seems to be the case of 2022. Just coming back into the swing of things. Today, I'm going to be talking about Multiversus and the future of fighting games, and I'm joined with a very, very great guest, someone I consider a friend. You may recognize him from the Versus podcast we did last year. It is Jason Fanelli.
Hello, nice
Hello.
to be back with you talking video games. My favorite thing to talk about.
Of course.
We're doing bangers this week, man. What was a fantastic weekend for fighting games. If you're not a fan of fighting games and you want to start following them, just get ready for the words rollback netcode because you're gonna be running into it a lot. I'm sure we'll get into that.
Oh, yeah.
It was just a hell of a week, hell of a weekend for fans of the fisticuffs, let's say.
Yep. Yeah. And if you're not aware of what happened, there was EVO 2022. EVO is the big fighting game stage where, basically any fighting game is a part of it. You have your main, I believe, is it 9 or 12 games?
9. The
Nine.
normal Evo showcase is 9 games. This year it was Guilty Gear Strive, let's say the whole title. Street Fighter 5, probably for the last time. Tekken 7, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, Mortal Kombat 11, Melty Blood Type Lumina, Skullgirls, Second Encore. I'm forgetting what was first on Sunday. King of Fighters 15.
Oh, yes.
And then Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. That's the last one. Got him.
Nice.
Got him.
Got them all. Let's go. That's why Jason's here. He's here to back me up. And then, of course, you had a few other games. One that we're going to be talking about a lot today is Multiversus. They had one of their bigger, open weekend kind of tournament going on there. So
It was their first official player first game / Warner Brothers tournament. 32 teams were invited. I think there were maybe some qualifiers, but I think they were mostly invitation only.
yeah,
Just to see what Multiversus esports kind of looks like. And honestly, I was very impressed with presentation. I was impressed with commentary. I was impressed with game flow, with the time, with how long it took, each match took. The action was really good. It's going to fit in quite nicely into not only future Evo lineups, I imagine, but future fighting game championship lineups in general.
awesome. Yeah, and I got to watch a little bit. I admittedly was watching a lot of COD Champs this weekend.
Okay,
It seemed like
that
this
also
weekend
happened.
was full of, there was a Halo tournament going on, Rocket League, which I'm not too familiar with competitive. And then obviously Evo going on, a lot of stuff, a lot of competitive games happening this weekend. So I tuned in. I had both my monitors on Call of Duty, and then I had Evo playing. So I got to watch Tekken, which I was super happy to see. They had over 100,000 viewers at one point
Yes.
for the top 8, which is huge for, just Tekken in general, but for fighting games. It's really
They
cool
were
to see those numbers.
They revealed today that Evo viewership in general was up 6 times
Oh, wow.
previous Evo records. They shattered viewership records, which is amazing, and I hope that just means it'll continue to grow
Yeah, that's huge.
as the years go on. It's gigantic growth. But I mean, first one back in person, first one back in 3 years' time. That wasn't online, and fighting games have always suffered online. Again, we'll get to that. But yeah, I mean, for first one back, it sounds to me it was a resounding success. I have heard very little critique about the weekend so far from both people watching, outside of the occasional "there's too many ads" complaint. But how do you
Sure.
expect them to pay for it if
Yeah.
there aren't ads? And especially people who attended, they said it was fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah, and I got to have one of my friends who isn't too familiar with fighting games. He even watched a couple of matches. Didn't know what the hell was happening, but I got him to watch some, so
Now,
we'll take it.
I've always contended that fighting games are the easiest esport for a non or casual fan to get into. It requires the least amount of time to A, not only get all the information you need, and B, pick up on a flow of how a match is supposed to go. And if you were to watch 2 hours worth of a fighting game, I would say by the 90-minute mark, he would have some idea of match flow, why certain things take priority over others, the strategy of the fighting game. and so on and so forth. At least from a viewership standpoint, I don't think he'd be able to like pick up a controller and win Evo after 90 minutes of viewing. But they do a very good job of explaining what's happening on commentary, and all of the information you need for the entire match is there, clear as day. It's 2 life bars, the names of the players, the characters on screen, and like if there's a super bar or whatever, that's there too, and that's it. Yep. That's all you need. I love Call of Duty League, don't get me wrong. I love Overwatch League. I love League of Legends. But all of those symbols on the screen, particularly in League of Legends, is intimidating. For a non-esports viewer, I put that on a TV where like my family members in the room who doesn't watch esports, or even my wife, God love her, she just doesn't watch it as much as I do. She sees all those symbols and she's like, "How do you follow that?" I said, "I don't."
Yep.
I'm not quite there yet, but I understand like what's happening and why things are happening the way they are. But there's just some games have such nitty gritty. They're so dense. But from a viewership standpoint, I just don't think fighting games have that. I think they're much easier to digest to a casual viewer, and that's why I also think they're the future of esports, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, okay. I like that. And I do agree as well. I mean, it's easier to follow too because you've usually just 2 people to watch. I mean, unless you're watching like Smash or Multiversus, and you might have a few more, but it's typically one-on-one. You got your health bar up top. It's pretty simple to read. League of Legends is a game that I have friends trying to get me to play. I refuse to play it. I don't think I have a high enough IQ to play League. It's hard to learn it. Like I've tried watching esports and there's too much going on the screen and I have no idea what's happening.
It is very hard to get into in this day and age simply because it's 13 years old.
Yep.
And there's 160 some odd different characters that you have to learn. Obviously, they are grouped into 4 different categories: top lane, middle lane, bot lane, and jungler. I'm probably forgetting one, support, I think. But it's just so many. It's overwhelming for a brand new player. Fighting games do a good job of taking some of that overwhelm away because their rosters, while they can be big, looking at you, Smash Ultimate, playing it is, easy enough, right? It's just, especially in the case of Smash Brothers and Multiversus, you're just pressing directions and attacks. You're not like quarter circling like Street Fighter, or you're not doing 360s to do the pile drivers. You'll learn those eventually. And, when you've been playing Street Fighter 2 for as long as I have, they come second nature now. But then I didn't start doing full circle, like spinning pile, like Zangief spinning pile driver motions until I was like a teenager. And I've been playing Street Fighter since I was 6. Right. It's just learning. But if you can learn it, then it's the best esport for new players, I would say too.
I agree with that. And it's a lot of fun. It's very fun to get into that competitive mindset. Unless you're me in 2015 when Mortal Kombat X or Mortal Kombat 10, however you want to say it, came out. I was streaming at the time and I was doing a King of the Hill, and Rewind actually entered the game somehow. I don't know if he just was scrolling through and found me and put me in a corner, and I was just in the blender and I couldn't do a damn thing against his Jax, and I was terrified.
Oh no.
And I had no idea at the time who Rewind was, and I had a couple of friends in the game with me and in my chat, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's Rewind." I'm like, "Who the hell is Rewind?" And I learned. I learned that day.
Yeah, you don't know who Rewind is? You're going to learn today.
Yeah, you're going to find out. Fuck around and find out is what happened.
Holy moly. That was me in the closed alpha of Multiversus, which we'll talk about as one of the main topics of this episode. I was just playing random matches in the closed alpha. I wasn't allowed to stream, so you just kind of have to take my word for it. But why would I lie about this? Sonic Fox, I ended up getting matched with, and he just ground my face into my desk. He was using Finn. He knew that Finn would be a monster.
The up special. Oh man.
Oh my god. And the bag. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he obliterated my Wonder Woman as Finn. It was humbling. So yeah, every once in a while you run into those pros and they're just like, "All right, you're doing okay, but go sit over there. Just go sit."
Yep.
You've got time.
And especially with them, like I think I got out of the corner a couple of times on Rewind, and I may have gotten around, but after that it was too much. I couldn't do it. Nah,
man. They're built different. They're just built different. They're scary.
Oh yes, very much. Especially, I mean, someone like Sonic Fox, who they
Yep.
just, I believe Sonic Fox got first in Skullgirls.
Skullgirls, yes.
Um, I
Top
think
8 in Mortal
fifth,
Kombat.
yeah, fifth for
Yep,
Mortal
fifth.
Kombat, and then 33rd for Multiversus. They had a pretty good weekend. Pretty good
Yeah,
weekend for
yeah,
Sonic Fox.
I would say that they did. Now today they announced the stuffed animals back, so they're just having a grand old time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Everything's coming up Sonic Fox at the moment.
Yes, I love it. Sonic Fox is great, so gotta keep going with that. So,
Yeah, yeah,
all right. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do a couple icebreakers. We're gonna jump into multiverses, which is
yeah.
the big topic of this episode. I've been having a blast with it. I'm having a lot of fun. So I reached out to Jason because he knows fighting games. And I mean, I do, but he definitely knows more about them. I see him tweeting about fighting games all the time, so I needed an expert to kind of bounce off me, talking about multiverses and kind of the future of where fighting games could possibly go. So,
Sure.
Multiverses is a free to play game. If you don't know, it is on PS4, PS5, all of the Xbox One family consoles. So, Xbox One, One S, One X, Series S, Series X. Thank you, Xbox. And then PC, which is Steam and Epic, which I did not know. I thought it was just Steam, but it is on both. So that's huge for them. No Switch, which I thought was kind of weird.
Uh, I
I don't know
to
if they
be
have
completely,
plans. I don't know.
I don't know if they have plans, but to be completely honest, at this point they may be waiting for a Switch Pro because I feel like this game, not to mention, their direct competition is on there. How well would they really do?
Oh,
But
yeah, that's a good point. Yep, I didn't even think about
but
that.
but they may be waiting for something because I feel like the density of the game itself, all the content that they've already put in it, still in open beta. I mean, they might be just waiting for open beta to be done, right? I
Sure.
mean, if they get when they get to version 1, whatever that may be, they may port it then. But I also think they wanted to get their feet under them before they put it right on Switch for that same reason. Smash Ultimate is also there, free to play or not. If people already own Smash, they're going to stick to Smash.
Yeah, of course. And I can't even believe I didn't think about that because when the game launched and I was streaming on open beta day, I was like, man, it's not on Switch. That's weird, but never mind. I think it makes sense now.
Yeah,
Totally forgot about Smash.
yeah, right. But the fact that you can even say that with multiverses is a pretty Herculean task, I would say.
Right.
The fact that it's it just hit 10 million strong
Yes.
players that had the headline came out today. 10 million players, and it's not even out of open beta. That's
Yep.
gigantic. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, it's huge for Player First, who is a developer, huge for Warner Brothers publisher, and huge for the fighting game community. I mean, when you have a new fighting game come out, it's typically you got your hardcore fans, and then you have some newbies are going to buy it, pick it up, and try to play. But it's typically that $60 price point, and it's scary. I mean, it's a lot of fun to watch, and I think it's a lot of fun in theory to play until you get your ass kicked and then you think you can't learn or you don't want to learn certain combos or characters or learning how frames work in fighting games. So it's very cool to see a free-to-play game come out and just absolutely crush it, especially a Smash Bros. Clone. We've had Brawlhalla in the past that was free-to-play as well. I don't remember their numbers exactly. I don't know how well Brawlhalla did, but I remember that kind of showed up. Before that, way back when, I think 2013 was PlayStation All Stars, or
I love
PlayStation
that game.
Battle Royale All Stars, whatever the hell it was called.
PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale, PASBR.
That's awesome.
I was a big fan of that game. I thought it had some really interesting ideas. It just wasn't supported the way they wanted to, or I don't know what happened there. If free to play was a thing back then, it would still be going now.
Yep, I agree.
But it's just the way it goes.
And Lego actually is getting involved too. They are doing Lego Brawl, I believe is what it
Lego
was called.
Brawls.
Yep.
They didn't want to get too close to Smash Brothers infringement, so they went with Brawls.
Brawls, okay,
as opposed to Brawl.
And I saw they had a demo on Steam for that. I was gonna play it, but then I got COVID and didn't play anything. So
no, that'll do that. Hope you're better.
Much better now. It's been over a month now. So I was in bed for 2 days, and then after that, I was finally able to get up. And my first game back was Fall Guys. What a great game to come back after laying in bed.
I love that game. My daughter has me play it now. Every time she comes home from the sitter, I pick her up. She says, "Dad, what are we doing?" I said, we're going to have dinner, going to get a bath, your normal stuff. And she's like, and then we can play the bean game? And I'm like,
yes. The little jelly
I guess
beans.
I guess so. And then, backseat driver that she is, I'll be struggling on a map, and she's like, "Oh, I guess you're just not winning this one. I guess we'll just have to start over." And I have to look at her and be like, "How's that supposed to help? What are you doing? You're sabotaging me.
Yep.
Don't put added pressure on me." But no, yeah. So, Fall Guys is awesome. The fact that was your first game back from COVID is brave.
Oh yeah.
That game could send you into relapse. But
Let me tell you, I was sweating. It was like the body sweat was coming out, and my body was like, "What the hell are you doing? You were just in bed for 2 days." Yeah, like, why are you coming back to Fall Guys?
Yeah, right.
But it just became free to play that same week, so it was like perfect timing. Why not jump back into it? So
that's fair.
Which is another game that took the free to play thing, and now it's all about Fall Guys. Again, this summer, everyone's back on Fall Guys.
Yeah, well, free is for me, right? If it's
Yep.
Well, it also helped too that they moved to the other platforms. They're on everything.
True.
Now. They went free to play the same day they were on Xbox and Switch, so all those players could hop in. But yeah, the fact that free to play, man, is, and this is like the big topic. We'll get into your icebreakers before. I don't want to go too far into this, but free to play is starting to be a interesting sort of new frontier.
Yep.
More so than I expected, but yeah, well, I'm sure we'll get into that.
Oh yeah. All right.
I don't
So
want to get ahead of myself.
We'll go ahead and jump into icebreakers, and then we'll jump into free to play because that's something that I had on my mind right before recording. So
Sure.
a few icebreakers for you. I want to know who you main in Multiversus, and if you don't main a certain person, I'll let you do top 3 fighters that you use.
Wonder Woman, Harley, and the third one is where I switch often, Velma for support. Was playing with Rain Dog for a little bit, but top 2 easier, Wonder Woman and Harley.
Wonder Woman Harley, I like it. I am a Harley main. She is my go-to.
Fast.
Yeah, she's super fast.
Combos.
Yep, she's so much fun, and my friends hate it that I play as her, but it's so much fun.
And the disruption with the Jack in the Box and the
Yes.
Batman doll, she's great.
Yeah, I hope she doesn't get nerfed. Finn, get the hell out of here. Get the backpack out of here.
Get out.
Yep. But hey, Harley, don't mess with her. Let her stay.
No.
She's fine.
Good.
She's fast, but you can counter her. You got Superman's dumb grab that you can just throw all the way to the edge.
She's also paper thin, being an assassin. So, you could knock her out on a normal stage at 90, 95. It's not like she's got a lot of longevity like a Wonder Woman or a Superman where if your recovery is right. Giant, if your recovery is right, you're not knocking them out until like 160, 170.
Right. And then I'm learning right now, I'm trying to learn Batman. He's a lot of fun, but I keep having the problem of just smashing X or square, and I'm doing the same thing over and over, and then I get the melee decay. Yeah, and I'm like, man, I can't figure out his combos to save my life. Battering, I've gotten pretty good with, but everything else can't do.
Yeah, his main tool is the grappling hook, and I can't figure it out either. So
I've almost thrown myself out of the arena a few times.
Yeah, I've done that once or twice.
It's bad.
It's not great.
And then how many hours are you at, or roughly, if you kind of been paying attention to that, and what system do you mostly play on? Because obviously it's cross-play, cross-progression. We'll get into that as well. But what system have you been mostly playing on? Because if it's PC, I want to know what controller you've been using.
I've actually played it on all 3 consoles, primarily PS5. That is the one that I go back to. But to answer your question for the PC, I'm just going to Google something real quick because I don't remember the exact name of the model. I want to make sure I get it right. And I reviewed this controller for MMORPG.com. I just want to make sure. Yeah, okay, cool. It's right here. The Razer Wolverine V2 Chroma is the controller I use for PC. Love it. Love every bit of it. But there's a couple of buttons that are a little more sensitive than others. And by that, I mean, like I'll press the button to do an attack. It'll do it twice without me putting in the input twice. I don't know if that's me being stupid or if it's that. I don't know what the problem is. But primarily PS5, PC, and I used to use the DualSense. PC, I'll use the Razer, and then Xbox, I'll use the standard Xbox controller.
Nice. Okay.
Hours, though, so you asked about hours. I'm probably approaching 30.
Nice. Okay.
Because and that, if we're including, because I was in early access too, I reviewed it for GameSpot. GameSpot.com Multiversus review is mine. All told, when I totaled that, it was about 25 hours, and I've probably played another 3 to 5 hours since then that dropped. So I'd say somewhere in the 30 range, 28 to 30, all told, across all 3 consoles.
And obviously, you're a busy man, so 30 hours is top notch. Plenty of hours. So
So many,
got
so
to
many
balance
hours.
family and work. So you know how it goes.
And every other friggin' free-to-play game I play, which,
Fortnite.
those battle passes don't complete themselves, damn it.
Yep.
So they got this battle pass. I'm done the 15 levels here, so I've kind of put it on the back burner. But Fortnite, I'm at 130, so I'm trying to get through to 200. I have September 17th as the next season. Fall Guys, I didn't care about the battle pass, but now I'm playing it with my daughters, so I care that I'm at level 70. I'd like to get to level 100 and get Mechagodzilla. I didn't care before, but I care now.
Yep.
It's so battle passes. They're the best and worst thing in the world.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the way games are, right? All the battle passes, got to have them all, like Pokemon.
Gotta catch them all. If Pokemon ever goes free to play, I am dead. Just dead.
That would be insane. Do it, Nintendo.
God. No, don't.
So I've been playing primarily on PC. I did download it on PS5 so I could get a feel for it, but I'm a dummy and haven't played it on PS5 yet. So at some point I will do my job and do that, so I can kind of get a feel of how it plays on console versus PC. I think Steam said I was at 64 hours, 65 hours, something like that. I went into an entire week of, I streamed it on open beta day, which was July 26th. Played it for like 12 hours straight. And then that entire week, every day was like just 8 hours a day, just grinding, trying to level up the battle pass, learning Harley, playing a few other characters, but mostly just Harley. I think my 1v1 rank was like 33,000. I was ranked something around there.
Pretty good.
I'll take
top
it.
50K?
Yep.
Out of 10 million players, top 50K? Hell yeah.
Yes, I'll take it any day. I was using just a standard Xbox controller at first. But then I thought to myself, I'm playing a fighting game. I do not want to break any of my buttons by accident, or if I'm just mashing too much. Controllers, they say they last forever, but when it's a fighting game and you're just sitting here just smashing this button, who knows? So because my Switch has been dusty and haven't been playing my Switch very much, I actually switched to my Pro controller on PC. I think this is probably my favorite fighting game controller, I think. The DualSense is very good, but I like the DualSense for everything. But yeah, this is a good time. I mean, if you're ever trying to play on PC again, I highly recommend trying this out because it's a great time.
I love that controller. I love it for Smash. It stands to reason I'd love it for Multiversus too. I will consider that.
Yeah, it's a good time. I was sitting there and I was like, man, like I don't want to use a DualSense because I just don't want to wear and tear those yet. And then my Xbox controller is my PC controller. So like Resident Evil or anything else that I'm playing that's my controller. So I busted that out and it's been a great week with that. So.
Yeah, I like the Xbox controller for Multiversus. The DualSense though, I love the wideness, like the width, so I can like both. I have bigger than average hands, I would say. So just having it in my hand and having full control over the one sides. I bet it would be good, not that it's on Switch yet, but I bet it would be pretty comfortable with Joy-Cons. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's Joy-Cons is basically just holding either side of the DualSense with one hand each.
Damn it, PC, let me use those.
Yeah.
Get it together, Steam.
I think that's less PC and more Nintendo, if I had to be honest. But DualSense is easily the most comfortable of the 3 that I use.
Hell yeah. And then last icebreaker, we're going to go top 3 picks for fighters to join the roster. Obviously, there are rumors and leaks out there. So I remember I was watching you stream the early access and you talked about Gandalf and Rick were seen in a picture months ago. And obviously Rick's coming. I would imagine Gandalf is. So we'll leave him off the list because there's a good chance. But any Warner Brothers, I mean, there's so many. Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Matrix, Lord of the Rings. Any top 3 that you have in mind that you would like to join the roster?
There are a lot of choices. I could reach. So I did a episode 97 of my Cheesesteaks and Controllers. I actually did characters from Multiversus. I gave 8. I'm not going to give all 8 here, but in researching that, I didn't understand how far the Warner Brothers rabbit hole went.
Yes.
There are a lot of choices that you could make. One of them being, Jotaro from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because Warner Brothers Japan is the one who distributes
Oh
JoJo's.
wow. Okay.
So that's a thought. But the three that I'm going to give you here are all Adult Swim, actually,
Okay.
from
I like it.
different time frames. Samurai Jack, I think, is a natural
Yes.
for this game. I feel he's a samurai, and there's all different sorts of powers that he could pull from in this game. Space Ghost, I think, would be a total like take the piss comedy character. You could go into his old comic book days with some of his actual superpowers, but you could also make him a sarcastic jerk. Like a move where he just like tries to interview people and asks awful questions and that hurts them somehow. I don't know how you would balance that, but I think Space Ghost would make sense. And my number one pick, uh, with a bullet, just saw them on Sunday night, would be Nathan Explosion from Metalocalypse / Death Clock.
There we
feel
go.
like I feel like with all like the fighting things that he's done in the show, there's a move set to be built there. I feel like Mord House, the Death Clock's house from the show, it would be a fantastic stage. I want to hear Death Harmonic, but from the orchestra that they have playing this. I it'd be a perfect fit. I think he's not in the leak, so if it does happen, it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. But Nathan Explosion, I think, is a perfect fit, and with a new movie on the horizon, yeah,
Be a good collaboration, and we know Warner Brothers likes that because Mortal Kombat 11, we had Terminator, and
yep,
Terminator got his own movie. Joker was also around that time frame because October 2019 the movie was coming out. Obviously, two different Jokers,
sure.
but Warner Brothers still, got to make that money, so understandable.
Love
So
it.
it would make sense. I'm okay with it. I mean, hell,
Yeah,
LeBron James is in a fighting game in 2022. I made a tweet about this that LeBron James in 2022 is in a fighting game, and then a week later, John Cena is in Fortnite.
Fortnite.
What the hell is
Yeah,
going on in 2022?
people are finally realizing that video games, especially live service games like this, or free to play games like this, are bountiful. There's a lot of, for as successful as these games are, there's a lot of untamed ground or unclaimed ground. Excuse me. People go on and on about the metaverse this, the metaverse that, all these different platforms. I've been in the metaverse already. It's called Fortnite.
Yep.
Fortnite is the
Agreed.
metaverse. You talked about Rocket League earlier. Their finals starting today. I can watch them in Fortnite. I can go into Fortnite and play Team Deathmatch while the Rocket League match is going on
That's
and earn
insane.
rewards for Fortnite while I'm doing it. They're Epic. Any metaverse platform should just look at Epic as a blueprint and then shamelessly plagiarize all of it. No, I'm kidding. Make their own ideas, but kind of keep that thing going. Oh, shout out to Core, which is a PC only platform where you can create your own games. That's getting metaversey as well, but they do a good job. They had a Dead Mouse area with like an in-game concert. He designed it himself. He helped build it himself. That's a pretty cool platform too. Also free to download for your PC. Core from Manticore Games. Check that out too. But to get back to the main point, yeah, free to play, man. And then The Rock too. The Rock was the
Oh, that's
foundation of
right. Yep.
Fortnite. I
LeBron James also in Fortnite.
and not to mention getting back to multiverses, all the voice acting in this.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Lillard is Shaggy, Tara Strong is Harley, George Newbern is Superman, Kevin Conroy is Batman, Maisie Williams is Arya Stark. Finn and Jake are the same voice actors who played them in the show. Which means John DiMaggio's in the game. It's just it's a bounty, man. It's there's so much going for this game, and I think that's what ultimately, if we talk about this, I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of your discussion points here. What makes Multiversus different from other Smash attempts, other Slash clone attempts? I think voice acting touches on it, but again, I don't want to get. I don't know what your talking points are, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. But yeah, we'll get into that.
All right, last icebreaker. I will do my top three, and then yes, we are going to jump straight into multiverses, and we're going to have a great night here. So, I would have to say my top three. I'm also going to go Adult Swim on this one. I'm going to go Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't know who I want though. I'm going to go Milkshake or the Shake. I think I want
Master Shake.
Yeah, Master Shake. I think Master Shake would be just so silly, so dumb, but so much fun. I don't know what role he would be, because obviously in multiverses you have ranged and mage, assassin,
Bruiser,
bruiser,
assassin.
support. So I don't know what
Honestly,
the hell he'd be.
I think you could design him as where he is the character, but like all of his attacks are his friends coming out to help him. Like a
What?
forward smash. Frylock could come out with like a hit, or like down smash, or up smash. Like Meatwad flies him up, right? Stuff like that. Carl could show up, and
Yes,
like
give me Carl.
Carl could show up like Toad in Peach's Arsenal in Super Smash Bros. Where he blocks an attack and he goes, "This is none of your freaking business," and then hits him back or something like that. Yeah, I mean that's possible. You could try to do maybe an ice climber situation where it's both of them,
True.
or a Tom and Jerry situation where there's one main, but then you can spread the other two out.
Yeah, Tom and Jerry. I also didn't realize. Speaking of Tom and Jerry, real quick, I didn't realize that they're fighting each other. So like
As they're fighting the game,
yeah, it's crazy. Like you'll see Tom run
Brilliant.
over the Jerry and he grabs him by the neck, and I'm like, what the hell? Like what is going on?
Brilliant.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd go one of them, probably Master Shake, and then yeah, I mean I don't care if they have all three somehow integrated. I think that would be super fun. I have to go Neo from Matrix. I think
That's
that
a good
would
one,
be,
too.
I think he'd be a lot of fun. Could do a lot there with him. And then my number one, it shouldn't surprise anyone that knows me and knows my love for Mortal Kombat. I want to say Sub-Zero because he has been my main since the day I played Mortal Kombat 3 and then eventually Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and he's broken, but that's not the point. I want Sub-Zero. More than likely, probably going to be Scorpion. I feel like Scorpion, when you look at Mortal Kombat, he is the mascot. So I would assume him, but their skins could do a Sub-Zero skin. Maybe. I don't know what they would do, but maybe.
The problem with the variant skin in this case is that their actual moveset is so different.
That's true.
You would have to create an
one-
entire second character. I think you eventually get both. Right.
I hope so.
Like it's a live service game. I don't know how many characters they're going to add per season or what their tick's going to be. If it's going to be every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, what have you. But eventually, I think this roster could get to a point where you have both.
I hope so. I'd love it.
I think they both fit with enough of their moveset being different enough, and then if they have special synergy with each other, right? Because A, from the same franchise, B, recent story has teamed them up. There's definitely potential for both, but I would agree that Scorpion would be first.
Yes, I think so. And I mean, speaking of like the different classes, you probably do Sub-Zero as a mage, someone that has, the ice balls and whatnot, and then Scorpion probably assassin or bruiser. I don't see him as a support. That'd be kind of weird.
Or tank.
Yeah, or yeah,
tank.
it could be a tank. Yeah. But yeah, I think those are going to be my top three. I did the same thing as you. I went down a rabbit hole. I found out that Warner Brothers has way more properties than I ever thought they did. So, and I went down a rabbit hole on YouTube as well, talking about like rumors or certain files within the game that people have found.
Mm-hmm.
I found out, I don't know, as of like recording it today, I don't remember how long that partnership was, but I just found out that Universal and Warner Brothers had a partnership. So someone was talking about a rumor of Hulk coming into the game, which would be insane if that ever happened, because that would be our first time having a Marvel versus DC kind of fighting game in the mainstream.
Hulk.
So,
okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the Incredible Hulk. Yeah.
yeah. That's because you wouldn't.
I doubt
that
it.
Wouldn't,
but
I mean, Universal obviously owns the ride or has control over the ride, but that would be Disney. Now, Tony Gwynn, the creative director of Player First Games, did go on record in an interview saying that there was a reason that they didn't call the game WB Brawlers. That the game, it's called Multiversus for a reason. Anybody and everybody is on the table.
So not just Warner Brothers, could be.
Right. Granted, I do think it's going to be primarily Warner Brothers.
Right.
But I still think that would be a hard sell to go to Disney with something like that.
I think so too.
I would think Disney would be more interested in making their own.
I'm okay with that too. Whoever wants to
platform
do
fighter,
it.
and there are some good ideas out there for a Disney one. I don't know if you've heard of the mobile game Mirrorverse that Disney has out right now. It's like a kabam RPG monetized out the butt. More currencies in this game than I think exist in the real world. I reviewed that for GameSpot as well, and based on not on its gameplay, not on its ideas, strictly on its monetization system, I gave it a 4 out of 10 because it's that disappointing. But I shouldn't say that. The gameplay is not, it's rudimentary. I'm getting ahead of myself. The monetary system is the worst part of it by far. But the character designs are fantastic. Like Belle from Beauty and the Beast using the power of the rose to make her a healer with like an Elder Scrolls mage staff and that sort of healing magic power. You have Maui with all of his tattoos like glowing, and he uses his hook as he's a big melee tank. Sully is also a tank. Sully from Monsters Inc. He built himself armor and a shield out of old doors that weren't being used in the factory anymore. It's so cool. It's such a cool idea. It's just buried in monetization nonsense. But I think that right. I think I love mobile games. Don't get me wrong. If you can find one that lets you play games and doesn't require you to spend too much money, if any money at all, then hold on to that, because the ones that are nefarious are the ones that are bad. But I understand, for example, not to get too far off track here, Octopath Traveler's mobile game apparently is very good. It doesn't require you to spend anything to really enjoy it. But anyway, get back to it. I think Marvel would be a hard sell because I think Disney would like to see the success of Multiverses and then build their own, because they have Star Wars, they have Marvel, they have the Disney properties themselves. That's a lot of fertile ground too. Like you could just go on Disney Plus and I could build a roster of 10 characters just sitting here right now. In fact, I will. Right. Homer Simpson, Mickey Mouse in some form, Sora, Captain America, Iron Man, let's say Thanos to get a villain in there, Maleficent to get another villain in there.
Give me Buzz Lightyear.
Buzz Lightyear would be a good one. And then I got to 8. Okay, so I got to hit it. But it's 8:42 p.m. on a Tuesday. If it was 8 a.m., I might be a little sharper. But right, the kids are asleep and I'm winding down. But all right, so at 8, as a base 8 roster of a platform fighter, you could with a little research and just like I said, going through Disney Plus and going down the rabbit hole that we went through with Warner Brothers, you could get to a 20-person Disney roster, easy peasy. So yes, I do think that Hulk might be a bit of a stretch, as awesome as it would be.
Do you think Player First, obviously developer of Multiversus, do you think them and Disney could do something? Like, do you think they would be the ones to make another Multiversus? Or would
it would have to be no, because I imagine that not only are they locked in with Warner Brothers for this particular project, I would think also that there would be some sort of either non-compete or non-copy that would not allow them to make, because at that point, if you're going to make one for each one, you just get them to negotiate and combine them.
And just do all of it, right.
And then make it actual Multiverses, right? Go full Fortnite with it. Just happens to be under Warner Brothers umbrella.
Right.
So no, I think it would have to be a different company. I'll tell you who it won't be. It won't be Game Mill, because Nick All-Star Brawl got a head start on Multiverses and was not so good. So
I agree.
No, I think
for the record,
it has to be. I would probably be another up and coming studio you hadn't heard of before this, just coming out and knocking it out.
I like it. I'll go with that then. So, all right, no more icebreakers. Now we dive into the nitty gritty. We're gonna dive straight into Multiverses. Big topic of the show. We already talked about what Multiverses is, so we won't spend too much time on that. But we will jump into its free-to-play model and its success over the last couple of weeks, because as of recording this, it has been open beta 3 weeks, I believe, and early access 4 weeks, right? July 19th was like early open?
2 weeks open beta, July 26th, or July 26th, August 2, August 9. Okay. With early access July 19, so 1926 to 9. Today was actually supposed to be the start of season 1. They had to delay it. They have not. It was originally announced that today would be the start of season 1, with Morty Smith being introduced, as well as some other things, and then Rick Sanchez coming later. That's what they announced at Comic-Con. And then last week, I want to say, they had to announce that would be pushed back indefinitely. They would give us a new date that would be very soon. So we'll find out what that is. Most people originally thought that was because of the merger, when all that Warner Brothers Discovery merger nonsense was happening, and when Batgirl got canceled. and things like that. But Tony Gwynn came out explicitly saying, no, we're not affected by the merger. This is our own quality control, that we called some stuff and we're not ready yet. So that's good. I was worried that it might be in jeopardy because Warner Brothers sees a thing that's making a lot of money and they're like, oh, I don't know about that. So we'll see. But yeah, so it should have season 1 should have started today, but ultimately we're just going to get at least another week of open beta. They did say August 15th would be the end of open beta, which makes people think that it might be next week that we get season 1. We'll see.
Obviously, hold on to that with a little bit of grain of salt. So might
Cross
be
your
later.
fingers and toes. I put that out there on purpose because I'm hoping that by the time this episode goes out, they will have already announced that season 1 is next week. Like I have that curse where I talk about something on my podcast and then the next day it's already debunked, so I sound like an idiot as soon as my podcast comes out. So I'm hoping that happens here too, where I'm like, oh, it's not coming anytime soon, guys. And then tomorrow they'll announce, oh, it's next Tuesday the 16th. Have fun, y'all. Morty Smith and Rick Sanchez, same day. All this great stuff. Sorry for being a week late, but we're cool now. I'm hoping that happens again. Cross your fingers.
And that's something I wanted to bring up too, because I just noticed. I just started following Tony today. He is the co-director, I believe, or co-founder.
Co-founder and creative director.
Creative director, that's what it is. And I saw that he was making a couple of tweets about Morty, and I wanted to bring up how important I think it is. So Multiversus, right away, is free to play, cross play, and cross progression, which is huge. There are a few games that come out that are free to play and cross play, but not cross progression. Obviously, Warzone is. Fortnite started to. When Fortnite first came out, it was not. And then slowly but surely, you were able to add your different Epic accounts. So my PC and my Xbox are linked, but not PlayStation. And that's because PlayStation, they were a bunch of buttheads a couple of years ago about crossplay. Yeah. Now they're okay. They let everything happen. So whatever. But this game is huge because I can be on my PC, unlock characters, I hop onto the PlayStation, everything's there. Hop onto the Xbox, everything's there. The only thing that is not there, and I don't know, I'm not smart enough to know if it is a financial, legal thing, is in the game you have gold currency and then you have schmeckles that you can buy, which I'm forgetting the name of.
Gleamium is the name.
Gleamium, that's what it is. You can buy that. That is the only thing that doesn't carry over. I was reading that because I almost bought one of the founder packs that you can buy, and it was telling you, hey, if you buy this on here, those do not transfer, but the characters or cosmetics you buy with that will. So again, I don't know if that's a financial thing. I just play video games and talk about them. I don't know anything about that stuff. So, and that is super huge. And the other big thing that Multiversus is doing with Tony is they're being transparent. I feel like us as gamers have asked and begged every developer under the sun to be transparent. Hey, if you're delaying something, can you give us something, right? Can you at least announce it? And then characters that are coming out. So I pulled up a couple of tweets that happened today from Tony. Last night at 8:14 p.m. He tweeted out saying, "For those wondering, Morty is labeled as expert." So in Multiversus, you have not only classes, but a couple of characters. One comes to mind, LeBron, is listed as experimental. And then some characters, such as Steven Universe, is listed as expert. So I like to see that there are people in the industry that are being transparent, even about small things like this. Some people might not care if he's listed as expert or easy or experimental, but it's a nice thing to be like, hey, we're delaying season 1, but I want you to know, here's a couple of things about the next character that is coming out, which is Morty Smith. And he also tweeted at 4 a.m. today. He said, finished another tuning pass on Morty. He has some really cool setups. Can't wait to see what players do with this with his kit. And I think I think it's really cool to see someone give us updates about the character and also to be like, hey, we are currently playing this character. We're tuning him. And we want to make sure that it comes to the public ready to go when it's ready. Something that
we're working on
CDPR
it, basically.
said.
Yeah, we're working on it. We know we don't want you to think we're just sitting here on our butts. We are working on it. We'll get it out as fast as we can. I love that.
Yep,
I absolutely agree 100%. I love how he teases things. Like he also had a tweet that said Morty loves orange juice and the plumbus.
Yes,
which makes me think those are two parts of his kit. The fact that they're going to put the plumbus in the game is
So
Excellent.
good.
Um,
I love it.
I hope he has all his pockets full of schleem.
Yes.
But no, I agree 100%. I think that both the main Multiversus account and Tony Wynn himself have been very good at being forthright and transparent. I feel like they announced the delay of season 1 on Twitter like an hour after they made the decision. Like they cleared it with WB. WB said, "Okay, put it out," and then they put it out. Yep. I really do think it was quick. It just seems like it was quick. You know what I mean? I mean, it's getting it out to the public that it was quick. It feels like they really value feedback from the community as long as it's constructive and considerate. Obviously, they're not going to tolerate the what do we call them? The lesser folks who think that their whims should be answered because they yell the loudest and because they threaten death and all that stuff.
People on Twitter.
Yes. But no, I agree. They do a very good job of being transparent. And as far as
sorry, I was gonna say on Multiversus Twitter account, like you said, they even gave us a snapshot of season 1. So even with its delay, they still said here's what you can expect. Right? They showed off new icons, new banners. Obviously, Rick and Morty are coming. They also it says new characters and more to come. So like you said, who knows, season 1 could be 4 characters instead of just the 2 that we know about. So
they had revealed that snapshot live on stage at Evo right before the top 8. He put it on the screen and people cheered for it and cheered his name, Tony. I'm sure that was probably one of the best moments of his life.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, again, and that's just a snapshot, right? Who knows how long this season's going to be? Who knows what their content cycle is going to look like? So we could be looking at like 4, like you said. We could look at 6. We could be looking at a bunch of new modes, like Ranked Versus was a big one on the snapshot.
And arcade mode too is coming.
Arcade mode, yes, single player arcade mode, which I'm a big fan of. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like. There really is. I'm wondering though. I think the delay was a bit of a road bump, but I still don't think they haven't hit their first big challenge yet, right?
Yeah.
Their first big controversy, for lack of a better term. So I'm wondering how they'll deal with that still. But so far, yes, I think their outward communication has been awesome.
Yeah, and I would agree as well. And you kind of touched base on it as well. I have a screenshot of how many players. Thank you, IGN. IGN came out and said that it hit 10 million players before the game's even launched. Because if you don't know, it is still open beta, as Jason was talking about. Open beta ends on the 15th. So hopefully, putting that curse out there. Oh, August 16th is full game. Season 1 starts. Hopefully.
Let's hope. Cross your fingers.
Yes. The exact number for anyone wondering is 10,268,259, which is incredible.
That's awesome.
For a game that technically isn't even released, and a fighting game is at 10 million active accounts right now.
Amazing.
That is just incredible. And Maximilian Dude, for anyone that follows anything fighting game related or Final Fantasy, he even called it last week. Huge congrats to the Multiversus crew. This is likely a turning point for the industry, which is why I have Jason here, because he knows more than me. I'm just here to bounce things off and to talk to a friend about fighting games. And we've touched base on what that free to play market sort of looks like. Fortnite being the big mainstream one that kind of brought it all together, right? I mean, Fortnite, love it or hate it, Fortnite was the most mainstream video game. It was hitting newspapers, magazines. Thank you, Blue Haired Ninja. Thank you so much. I mean, Drake played it. Come on.
Yeah, it's true.
And now free to play is everywhere. Fall Guys switching to free to play after being $20 or $25 for its first year, switching to free to play. Everyone's talking about Fall Guys again. Fortnite, still just as big as it was in 2018, if not even bigger, with no build, more players. And now Multiversus joining that as free to play. And it's just, I don't know. I think it's awesome. It's awesome for the gaming community, and it's awesome for fighting game community as well.
Now, here's the thing about free to play. I do think that the future of fighting games is free to play, and I think this proves it. I think that there is enough of a market, even for people to just, download it and try it because it's free. They don't know if they're going to like it or not. They just try it because it's free. It's a fight. It just happens to be a fighting game. It gets 10 million plus players. However, why I think Multiversus is not exactly the first real test case for fighting games in general is twofold. One, it's a platform fighter. It's not a. It's
Traditional like
Thank you. It's not a
1v1.
traditional fighting game. It's not a Street Fighter. It's not a Tekken. It's not. It's not a 1v1 on a
It's a
stage,
party
2D
fighting
stage.
game.
Yeah, exactly. It's got a lot. It's got a more social element to it, especially with the 2v2 focus. Um, it's got a lot more. It's a lot easier for new players to jump into. It just has very deep, foundation to it that you can go in and learn your character and nuances and stuff like that. So the barrier of entry is going to be a little lower for this game because of that platform fighter format, and also because of its roster. Um, I know who Ryu from Street Fighter is. You know who Ryu from Street Fighter is. Non-gamers don't.
Right.
Like Street Fighter Five has been out for a while, but unless you've been paying attention to it, you don't know what that is. You don't know what any of the
Exactly.
Street Fighters are. If you're an older like lapsed gamer, you might know who they are from then, but you don't know who they are now. So if Street Fighter Six were to announce it was going free to play, it is not. Don't hold me to that. But if if they were announced that they were going free to play, they don't have names like Arya Stark and Shaggy and Superman and Batman to lean on as much as Multiversus does. Multiversus is built on iconic characters who weren't in a game like this before.
Right.
Street Fighter and Tekken, they're going to keep their format, they're going to keep their structure, they're going to keep their cast, and it's going to be obviously for the hardcore gamers and the hardcore fighting fans a no-brainer. But conversely, I think it would be a harder sell outside of the FGC to make fighting games free to play. Do I think they won't try it? No, I do think that all of them will try it eventually. I don't know if it'll be a mainstream game or if they try to release like a side fighting game, make that free to play. Not sure. But I don't think that free to play is going to just be the end all be all for fighting games that I want it to be. I would love free to play fighting games to take off to the point where they're the most played genre in the world. I would absolutely revel in that.
I
But
agree.
I do think that Multiverses is inflating the numbers a little bit because of the roster it holds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I mean, everyone kind of has an idea of. I mean, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, you know Arya Stark. If you like Adult Swim, you have Rick and Morty, and then who knows who else can come out of there.
Sure.
You have Adventure Time, Steven Universe,
Hmm.
Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry. I mean, the list goes on and on of who you might know. DC, right? Batman,
Yep.
Superman, Wonder Woman, Harley. I mean, that's the easiest sell ever. Hey, do you like DC? Yeah. Want to play this free to play game? I
Done.
mean, too easy, right? But yes,
Hmm.
Street Fighter, especially Street Fighter Six, obviously has been on a roll the last 2 months after being revealed at the PlayStation Showcase in June,
Hmm.
and then obviously getting more light at the almost the Game Awards. That's in December, Summer Game Fest,
Yeah.
and then even recently at Evo, we got Kimberly and forgetting her
Yuri.
name now. Yuri, thank you. So I've been kind of curious to see what Street Fighter Six does because it seems like, for the most part, it seems like everyone's pretty excited and
Yep.
rightfully so. It's a new Street Fighter game. We haven't had that since Five, which was 2015,
2015,
Okay.
something like that. Yeah.
So I mean, it's been a long time,
Hmm.
and now with again, we talked about it earlier. Tekken hitting 100,000 viewers. For its top 8 is huge. So I'm just curious to see. I think the big test is Street Fighter 6. This time around, Street Fighter 5 was only on PlayStation at first, and then came the
Right.
PC, I believe. And I correct me if I'm wrong. Still no Xbox, right?
No, Street Fighter Five never hit Xbox. It was PlayStation exclusive its entire run. Street Fighter Six will not be that.
Yeah,
It'll be
it
on
will be
everything.
on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. And I'm
Hmm.
curious to see. So, like you said, maybe not yet, right? I don't think Street Fighter 6 will be free to play.
No.
I've been trying to figure out if they go full 70 because that seems to be where we're headed into the gaming industry. Games are going to be 70. Um, I'm curious if they do that or if maybe they take a step back and do a 50 or 40. and kind of decrease the price and have more of a player base come in, or if they just stick to their guns. Obviously, this is a business at the end of the day, so you need to make your revenue. And realistically, $70 for a game, depending on how much money goes into a game, good revenue. So I'm curious to see what fighting games do going forward.
I think you're going to get Street Fighter 6 at full price, because there's a lot of investment being made into the netcode, into that whole package, plus all the updated graphics, the visual style, the roster that will be there. I think it'll earn that $70 price tag, right? I think there'll be enough content. They're not going to make the same mistake they made with five, excuse me.
Yes.
What are numbers? They're not going to make the same mistake with five that they'll make with six. They're just not going to do it. But that said, that is still a pretty high barrier of entry, and I think it will affect how it sells at launch, because people might still be snake bitten by five, right? And they don't want to jump in until they know that it's a vast improvement. So we'll see. But I do not see them going free to play.
And then traditionally, fighting games, they are still doing the route of Call of Duty back in the day used to have a season pass. Fighting games still to this day do, I don't know exactly what it's called. I know Mortal Kombat is the Combat Pack, or Combat Pass. Do you see them transitioning to a battle pass kind of route, so you can unlock characters through that and cosmetics through that, or do you think they stick true to just here's a season pass for $30? It's going to come with 4 characters later to be revealed, and then obviously as the game updates, new stages and things like that.
No, I think they'll stick to the season pass format. I think charging a full price for a game and then adding a battle pass on top of it would be a bit overkill, because with season passes, yes, you're buying them, but they're, once for a year's worth of content, whereas
Right.
battle passes churn every 3 months. So no, I do think that the standard fighting game format of season passes with, like you said, 4 or 5 characters, colors, maybe stages, all included, I do think that route still works for fighting games if they're still going to charge full price for it. But still, eventually, that cost becomes too much, because, say, like you said, that the season pass is $30. That's $100 you've already spent. So it's rough. It's definitely a toll on the wallet, which makes free to play that much more enticing. But at the same time, a game like Street Fighter 6 seems like it's going to be of the highest quality. So it's up to you to decide whether it's worth the bang in your buck.
For sure. And I think the next big thing too is, you and I talked about it last year. PlayStation doesn't have their own Game Pass necessarily, but now they have 3 different tiers or layers, however you want to look at it.
That's true.
The highest tier does come with a few games you can play as a trial, a 2-hour trial. So like, I know Uncharted's on there. Not gonna lie, that's the only one I know that has a trial. I think there's Returnal maybe, but
Maybe.
Uncharted I know for sure has that trial at the $17.99. Is it premium, extra, essential?
Essentials.
Yes.
Yep.
And then obviously the big thing is Game Pass. Do we see Street Fighter 6 on Game Pass day one?
No.
No Game Pass.
No, I don't think we do. Because I mean, there's an argument to be made if they want to win back the Xbox audience they lost from being PlayStation exclusive with 5, but I would need to know the type of financial reparation they would get for making that decision, because it cannibalizes all of your Xbox sales.
True.
Right. And so, like, everybody who has a subscription and who has anyone who has a subscription is getting Street Fighter 6 through the subscription. They're not going to buy it,
Right.
and they're not going to lose the subscription. So once they download it, it's theirs. You don't know how much that's going to cost you. Again, it would depend on how much Capcom benefits from it. They've put enough games on there to know what kind of deal they can get. So maybe I'll switch it to a maybe. But if I had to put a percentage on it, it would be like 10% chance.
So a little closer to a no, but
Right.
still up in the air, because Phil Spencer's doing everything he can to
That
make
is true.
make that market. I mean,
is
Kojima's
true.
making a cloud game. whatever that means. Let's go.
Yeah, whatever that means. It's gonna be Kojima on a cloud. That's what you're gonna play as.
Yes.
I don't. He could be eating his lunch. He could be walking on the clouds. He's gonna make the game he wants, and we're all gonna salivate over it because that's what we do.
Yep. Kojima. Gotta love it. I'll play anything he releases. And then I think it's huge to talk about Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is free.
Oh man.
I think we probably should spend a little time on that at least, because that's huge news. Anyone
Makes
that
me
doesn't
so
know,
happy.
it's been you couldn't buy it since 2013, I believe, right? At least like in terms of digital.
Yes, I believe that's when it came off of Xbox and PlayStation Network. The Marvel vs. Capcom 2 digital version. It was up there from like 2009 to 2013 or 14. Yeah, that sounds right.
Gotcha. And it is coming back in arcade form, which is going to be the arcade 1-up arcade cabinet. And it comes with more Marvel vs. Capcom 2, the first one, and I think like 6 other titles, something like that.
It is the entire Marvel fighting game by Capcom library. So Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2, plus War of the Gems and Mutant Apocalypse, I want to say, which are side-scrolling brawlers.
And then I saw your tweet. You have the first arcade cabinet that
I do.
Arcade 1-Up did with Marvel vs. Capcom and a few of those other titles. And now the upgraded one, Jason.
The curse is alive and well. Like I said, I bought it in March, and by August they announced the new one. Tee-hee. You all are welcome. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool. And if this means that Marvel 2 ends up back on console, then we'll all be better for it.
And I think that's the other huge news too, is it has Wi-Fi, so you can play online with other players that have the cabinet, which is so
amazing.
So
and Arcade 1-Up's Wi-Fi is actually quite good. It's impressively good. Getting your machine to hook up to it is a bit cumbersome because you have to use the arcade sticks and buttons to enter your password. But once it's in, it's phenomenal.
Good to go.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I wanted to buy the Mortal Kombat one, and I ended up not doing it. But I feel like I would do myself a disservice if I didn't go for the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 one, because I missed out on that game. I've played the first one at arcades plenty of times, and I bought Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 when they both came out 10 years ago now at this point. But I missed the second one, and every day on Twitter for the last like 7 years, I just see people always talking about it and loving it, and I'm so upset that I missed it. And now, it might be like $200, $300, but I can finally play it with the other ones too.
I would double that.
You double it? I think it's probably 500, 600?
500-600.
I mean, it's worth it.
I agree. I agree 100%. But the Street Fighter 2 Big Blue that came out last fall that had like all like Street Fighter, Darkstalkers, and a couple others, that was 600. Okay. So this
was probably going to be about 600 then too. So never mind.
Ignore
the 300.
Unfortunately,
unless we manifest it, give us the $300.
Give us a $300 tabletop version. Sure,
yes, just give me that one. I'll put it right here on the desk. Cover up the monitor. Just play that for the rest of it.
That'll be it.
And then I think the last topic here. Oh, actually, no. I want to do one more topic before the last one. Where the hell is NetherRealm? What's going on there? I saw Ed Boon tweet that it's time to let the Street Fighters and the Tekkens, shine, which is huge for him to tweet, because now it's kind of, hey, we're not ready to share anything. Quit asking us every day. Quit making up rumors. Quit making up thumbnails. Like, we will talk about our game when we're ready. How about you enjoy all of this? Because like I said, Street Fighter 6 has been big the last 2 months. I go on Twitter and it's always Street Fighter, which compared to Street Fighter 5, like you mentioned, that's big for Capcom. And I think they learned their lesson. The game came out, not all the roster was available, not all the modes, only on PlayStation. So obviously a learning curve. Every developer has to go through that. So,
sure.
and they learned, and now they are just shining bright right now. And I think it's awesome. Me, as someone that I played Street Fighter 2, I played a demo of Street Fighter 4, and I've played Street Fighter 5. I missed 3. But I'm super excited for 6. I think visually it looks amazing, and I
Awesome.
think
So cool.
I'm ready to get my hands on it. I really want to play that game.
Yeah, me too. But to answer your question, where is NetherRealm? We mentioned Maximilian earlier. He made a fantastic point in one of his Twitch streams that while fighting game fans consider Evo to be one of the biggest events of the year, I certainly made an appointment television watching 3 different streams on 3 different devices.
Yep.
The general public would say no. Now, what they did have 6 times the viewership that they've had before. They did have make all these milestones. PlayStation now being co-owners definitely helped their presentation, but it is not the premier event that the fighting game community would have you believe outside of the fighting game community. In the FGC, gigantic. Outside of it, not so much. The Game Awards, however,
Big.
massive, and that's where 11 made its debut.
Yep.
In 2018. Funny story about that. I was watching the Game Awards over a friend's house. That announcement was made around 11 p.m. Eastern time, and I woke up his children.
So worth it.
I yelled so loud I woke up his kids and was immediately asked to leave. So yeah, they weren't very happy with me, but we're cool now. He still makes fun of me for it, as he should.
Yes.
But that was also the same Game Awards where I went home from waking up his kids. My wife was on the couch with our 2 kids. The older one wouldn't go to sleep. The younger one was 2 months old. And
Passed out.
while I'm feeding the younger one and watching the Game Awards on my arm, they announced Joker from Persona for Smash Brothers, and it takes everything in me not to throw a baby. That was a big night for me. But no, I think NetherRealm's time will come, and I think it will be best case scenario. It'll be an opening night live for Gamescom in 2 weeks.
Yes.
But I wouldn't count on that. That's pie in the sky. But I think you could circle December for, unless they're going to wait all the way to E3, which I don't think they'll do. I think Game Awards, circle that if you're a NetherRealm fan, as to where your hopes can be made highest.
Especially because this year's been 3 years, so next year will be 4 years, and usually it's every what? So Mortal Kombat X was 2015, Injustice 2 was 2017, and then 20. So it's usually every 2 years. Usually.
Yes, but you can't really go off of that anymore because right before Mortal Kombat 11 launched, NetherRealm was dragged through the mud, deservedly so, for crunch.
Yep.
If you remember, all those reports came out for people who were working ungodly hours and suffering mentally from it. So it sounds like, or at least it seems like, they have made adjustments if they're not announcing a game until 4 years later instead of 2 years later. So I don't think you're going to get the every other year NetherRealm anymore, especially with the uptick of DLC that they had.
Right.
But I do think now 4 years would be enough time. And if they follow the same sort of schedule that they did where they announced it at the Game Awards, they have the full blowout event revealing the game in January and then it releases in April.
Right.
No harm, no foul. It'd be like they never left.
Yeah. And do you think it is Injustice or do you think it is just Mortal Kombat again?
I think they're going to go Mortal Kombat 12 again. I think the sales of that game kind of opened their eyes. Not to say that Injustice wouldn't sell well, but I feel like if they want to make if they want to make a big stink for their new owners at Warner Brothers Discovery, a new Mortal Kombat that sells 4 or 5 million copies would be the way to do it.
I agree.
So I do think it'll be MK12 first, which is fine because I like where that story ended, and I need more, please.
Yes.
So
I mean, we got story DLC for the first time ever from them, and that was
So
insane.
Cool. It was so cool. And then where do you go from there? Do you? I mean, obviously you're starting a NetherRealm. You're finally going to get Evil Raiden. Yes. Based on how the core game ended, you're going to get, maybe you'll get Onaga or that whole villain section from Deception or Deadly Alliance. It is interesting. There are a lot of interesting possibilities, but we won't know until they finally decide to open up the floodgates. And if I hear the words Ed Boon at the Game Awards, hold on to your butts.
Yep. Unless we get disappointed, unless he shows up, just announces the award and leaves. But I
Which
highly doubt
I wouldn't
it.
be disappointed by that solely because that would be the most Ed Boon move
Yes.
in the entire goddamn world.
He'd show up, be like, "Here's fighting game of the year," and then leave. no
He's out.
Mortal Kombat, no Injustice, no nothing. See ya next year.
He'll give the award to Multiversus.
Yes.
He'll be like,
Oh
here,
my.
Multiversus fighting game of the year. Good job, Warner Brothers brother. Peace out. He just leaves.
Oh, and Scorpion's coming to the game. That's all I have to announce. See ya.
What if that was it?
Dude.
What if he shows up at the Game Awards, announces Scorpion for Multiversus, and just walks off stage Vince McMahon? I don't want to source Vince McMahon, but it's a good walk.
You're
Vince
right.
McMahon style.
It'd be the most Ed Boon thing, and Twitter would be on fire that night.
Twitter would be half Ed Boon, you jerk, and half Ed Boon, you colossal genius.
Yep.
It's just, oh man, that'd be awesome.
I would love it. I mean, I love Ed Boon. I love that team at NetherRealm, and I'm hopeful, like what you said. I'm hoping that this break wasn't just because of the pandemic, because obviously making a game these last couple of years, so many delays have happened.
Sure.
So we know that is also an issue, but crunch has been an issue for quite a few years now.
Way before that,
yeah. And we always hear about it, and it's not fun for the people working on them, especially when a game comes out and you have, like Jason mentioned, the lesser of people on Twitter yelling at you and sending death threats or just not being very kind or happy on the internet when they are spending all of their time in a studio trying to make something that you'll like. So I'm happy to see that, a lot of studios are getting called out for crunch time, and that we're seeing more and more studios fight against that and not have it be such a prominent thing in the industry. So, and then I had a final point. Oh, netcode. That's what I want to talk about. Rollback yes. Netcode. We will end the topic on there. I will let you shine light to people that may not know exactly what that is and why is it talked about for the last few days, because it seems like every game right now is getting rollback netcode.
Yes. So for those who are not familiar with fighting games online, since the time of the Xbox, when online console gaming first began, it used something called delay-based netcode. And what that would do is when you're connecting with someone online, say Glenn and I are playing a fighting game online, it would calculate the ping between the two of us, the packet loss and all that stuff, but in our connection, and it would delay the inputs that we would put in so that they happened at the exact same time that they were supposed to, including ping and frame delay and stuff like that. What happens then, if you have a good connection where it's a 1 millisecond ping or a 2 millisecond ping, it's relatively fine. But as you get into the 5, 10, 15, it would create a situation where it's like your fighters are always stuttering, they're moving back and forth, the game doesn't know what to do or what to register. You could throw a combo and only land one hit, and only the first attack registers because everything else was lost to the delay. It was just a very inefficient, very cumbersome system, especially now in the current age where graphics have gotten better and, in a genre that is so precise as fighting games, where they are where good players know their moves down to 1/60th of a second.
Not me. Don't understand any of it.
Yeah, not me either. But that is unacceptable because of how precise you have to be. It does not recreate the arcade, playing next to each other. And also, too, companies didn't really put a lot of thought into it because they thought that players were playing, getting together, hanging out, and playing fighting games more than they were playing online. And this thought persisted. It persisted for way longer than it needed it to. But the pandemic was a kick in the butt. The pandemic showed them that the online ecosystem is just as, if not more important than catering to couch play. Right. Because when people are playing online, they want the best connection as possible. So back in the early 2010s, a program called GGPO came out with a type of netcode called rollback. And what this does is it calculates the ping between the two of you, and it actually can roll back frames to put your input where you wanted it after it calculates your ping. So everything feels a lot more as precise as you need it. And the difference is night and day how these two different formats work. And that was a very rudimentary explanation too. I'm sure people can go a lot deeper than I just did.
Right.
But and the difference is so noticeable. Like Multiversus Online is rollback. Aside from the occasional hiccup, it's spot on. Arc System Works first started experimenting with it via Guilty Gear. What is it? Reload, XX Reload. The full name eludes me, but they added that to that old port, that PC port, and playership skyrocketed.
Nice.
They did it with KOF 98 Ultimate Match, and it skyrocketed. Or 2002, excuse me, and it skyrocketed. So now they're realizing, oh crap, this is something we need to do. Guilty Gear Strive, I believe, shipped with it. King of Fighters 15 shipped with it. Street Fighter 6 will ship with it, and now Samurai Showdown is adding it after all the content has come out. Dragon Ball Fighters is adding it, which is tremendous, considering how much more thought has to go into that, considering it's 3v3 and assist based. So it's going to this coupled with free to play could be the shot in the arm that the fighting game industry has needed for a very long time, and send it back into the stratosphere where it was in the early to mid 90s. I really do believe that it has that level of potential impact. Netcode for the online experience and free to play for the low barrier of entry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, sorry, and a big one to focus on in the lead up the next couple of years is Project L. Project L is Riot Games' fighting game themed around League of Legends, so it's all League of Legends champions, being made by one of the Cannon brothers who created GGPO and became big in EVO. They know fighting games. And the fact that one of them is the lead on that game just makes it even more tantalizing to watch. They've already said it'll be free to play. They've already said it will not only use rollback, but it'll use like its own ecosystem developed within Riot. So it'll be like rollback on uppers.
Yep.
So yeah, that's another one to look out for too.
I completely spaced out Project L because I had a prediction like way back in February that we would see Project L at EVO, and we didn't. As far as I know, there was nothing shown or said, right?
On Tuesday, before EVO, there was a brief update announcing free to play.
Okay.
And the next champion is Illaoi, the tentacle with the orb and the. Did you play Ruin King, the RPG, the turn-based RPG?
I did not know.
So she's a I don't remember the name of it. But basically, she's a harbinger, or she's she's the acolyte of this water god, like a kraken god. So she like can summon these ethereal tentacles to damage enemies. She carries this giant idol that she just smashes people with. She was announced as the fighter they're developing now for Project L. But they didn't show any gameplay or anything. It was just the artwork and concept. But the dev blog for Project L got into minute detail on how they're implementing her into the game. I thought that was really cool.
Awesome. Okay, so everyone check that out then. Everyone be on the lookout, because I've heard about Project L for 3 years, I want to say now, because we heard about Valorant and Project L around the same time. Valorant obviously has come out and has been a great success for Riot. Riot also, like Jason said, League of Legends. So I would imagine Project L is going to, I hope, free to play fighting game, should bring in a lot of people, and it's in the League universe, right? So I mean, that has a big name itself. So hopefully Project L comes out and just smashes numbers as well. No pun intended to Smash Bros. But yes, I'm very much looking forward to that, and looking forward to what the fighting game community comes forth from rollback netcode and free to play, and just I mean, again, EVO being 6 times more viewership over this weekend is just massive. First time being back in person since 2018.
Yep. 2019.
And like Jason said as well, they are partnering up with PlayStation, so hopefully that also means more prize pool money or crowdfunding. I would like to see that implemented. Maybe
I would like to see crowdfunding as well. That, like I said, the one critique that I had heard, I said I only saw like one or two things critiquing, was actually Rewind. He went out to Twitter and started talking about how his winnings from the weekend were less than what some of the tournament organizers made for working the event.
Oh wow.
Which is not great. So hopefully they figure that out. And even if as the revenue comes in from the weekend, if they can find a spot to give these prize winners some more money, they should do that.
Yeah, I agree. Crowdfunding is big. I remember Mortal Kombat X, some Sub-Zero skin they used for the first like opening kickoff weekend for an event. They used all of that
it was the
money.
The Shredder Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat Deception.
Yeah,
I bought the crap out of that.
Same. I mean, first of all, again, Sub-Zero, my dude, solid costume, and then also right there, hey, crowdfunding. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Here you go. Take my money, please. So
Killer Instinct Cup used to do that too. Every batch of DLC, some of it would go into the pot for KI World Cup. It really is a smart way to do it. I don't know why more companies don't.
Right. You would hope. That's another hope for, I mean, not just fighting games, but also, I mean, you know, I've grown up watching Call of Duty, Halo, and Gears of War esports, and one of those, unfortunately, isn't doing them anymore. But the other two still going strong. One making a comeback, Halo, and Call of Duty being with the Call of Duty League. Activision, you guys have money. Do something, please. Yeah. You guys just got a lot of money from Xbox recently. So, I mean, now you got more money. So hopefully. And then last thing to touch on as closing thoughts happen here, because I believe we are wrapping up. I don't remember if it was a podcast from you or if it was a tweet, but I remember seeing you talk about wanting to commentate fighting games at some point. And I agree. So I'm going to go ahead and manifest this into the world. Whoever is watching this, Jason and I want to commentate some games. And listen, Multiversus, it's free to play. It's the hot thing right now this summer, besides Fall Guys. Hit us up. Let us commentate, please. I would love to do that for a friendly tournament. I called out Blessing Jr. and Khalif Adams. I would like to try to organize something soon with everyone. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
I think it would too. And yes, I would love to commentate. Watching that this weekend, seeing the people at the desk, that is something I would really, really want to get into. So yeah, if you're watching this and you need a commentator who's willing to do the first couple for free just to get his feet underneath him, sup?
Yes, yes. We'll have all the socials underneath, and yes. But yeah, I want to give a big shout out to Jason once again. It's always a pleasure getting to reach out to you, and I'm very happy to sit down and talk about video games, especially fighting games, because I feel like you have great knowledge in that community, and it's always fun just to chat with you. You are an incredible human. Let the people know where they can find you.
Yes, so I am on Twitter at BigManFanelli, twitch.tv/JFan64, because they won't free Big Man Fanelli, but that's a story for another day. Also, the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast, the only podcast talking about esports and video games that gets airtime here on Philadelphia Sports Radio every Saturday at 3 o'clock, 102.5 FM if you're in the area, or every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, so on and so forth. This week, I will be speaking to the commissioner of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, the MEAC, Sonia Stills. They recently featured Madden in their football media day.
Oh, wow.
So we talked about their push into esports and all the things that they're doing as far as that is concerned. Great conversation there. And I'm also scheduled to speak with, tentative, obviously, it hasn't happened yet, the CEO of Flow Water, who provided all of the free water at EVO. I would love to hear the story about how that came about. So hopefully that interview is scheduled for tomorrow. So both of those this week on episode 108 of the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
Hell yeah. And if you didn't catch all of that, as last time, everything will be in the description below. So make sure to check out. I'll have his Twitter, his podcast. He is also a freelance writer. Yes. He just did an awesome piece on Multiversus. So if you want to read more about that, it is on GameSpot. I believe it was on front page GameSpot last week.
It was. In fact, I think not in the first featured spot, but no, it's not there anymore. finally gone. It was there like
Finally
basically the entire weekend while Evo was going on. But yes, I normally write for GameSpot, mostly news, with the occasional feature or review here or there. I reviewed Multiversus, and I don't have any reviews lined up right now, actually, for the rest of the year. But not for the rest of no, the reviews come
Right.
at the GameSpot. I shouldn't say for the rest of the year. I should not jinx myself like that. But yes, I'm writing news every day. I do stuff for them as much as I can, and I love the staff. So please go to GameSpot for all of your gaming news needs. Happy to provide it for you.
There you go. And yes, so hopefully this isn't the last time we see Jason. I'm sure I will think of more topics, and it's always a great time sitting down and talking to you. So thank you once again. And for everyone else, hopefully Boss Fight makes a weekly or every other week return. I'm busy with a Last of Us playthrough. I have plans for Multiversus. When the ranked mode comes out, I want to do Road to 100. I'd like to win 100 ranked games. So we'll see what happens with that on the channel. And then, more podcasts about just the gaming world and anything else that I find interesting. So until the next one, I will see you guys then. Remember to be better, be kind, wash your hands, and wash your ass. And I'll see you guys next time. See you, everyone.